behalf of Buds Engineering Academy Pune, I welcome Mr. Himanshu Paliwal sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir has completed his BE in Electronics and Telecommunication and also completed his MBA with over 23 years of experience. He's a technically sophisticated and a business savvy management professional with a pioneering career over 23 years reflecting strong leadership qualities and hands-on sales, pre-sales, techno-commercial and project process management experience in the IT industry. He has excellent communication and people management skills, a proven ability to lead a team by example and to motivate them to achieve desired objectives. He has extensively traveled to USA, Europe, and the Middle East. Sir is a ITIL certified professional with more than 23 years of experience in IT industry and companies like HCL, Tech Mahindra, City Technologies, and many more. Sir is currently leading sales and pre-sales functions of India and SAARC countries for Tech Mahindra. His cross-functional experience spans across business development, IT consulting, strategic business analysis and research, technology, project management, solution design and development. His key work related areas include strategic IT planning, data center build and run, that is data center operations, business required planning and analysis. He has traveled across USA, Europe, Middle East, and led IT transformation for several organizations. He has an extensive experience in creative, innovative, and context-specific solutions and lead a team of IT consultants to help companies walk the transformation path. He has developed a strong domain knowledge base with regards to IT services. It's great to have you, sir, today with us. Thank you for taking out time from your valuable time from your busy schedule and joining us today.
Thank
I
you, ma'am.
request you, I request you to please guide us with your words of wisdom.
Thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful experience. And I guess we have around 1920 students. So what I'll do is that I'll first of all have a quick
Sir,
introduction.
our students are 30, sir. Our students are 30, 30.
Acha, 330. So
30,
Google Meet is showing somehow 20 people.
Yeah.
Anyways, 20 is also a very strong strength.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I just want to structure this discussion. I'll not say this is a guidance, but it's actually a discussion where we will discuss around whatever is top of your mind. So how I have structured is that probably 5-7 minutes I'll spend around what the industry is, how the robotic industry looks like, and beyond robotics also, because I've been told that you are from electronics engineering and you are fortunate to be there as I was, because electronics is a base for all the current modernization, digitization, transformation which is happening around the globe. So I can say that you have a bright future and you have lot many branches to move in. So with that introduction, I'll just start with a few thoughts. When Arjun approached me to, my thoughts are interesting and what is the role for robotics, and I'll go beyond it because though I have touched upon robotics in my career in HP, Hewlett Packard. So HP was developing robotic printers, and I had a good experience of having very intelligent printers who can print plastic. I don't know whether you have seen printers printing automobile parts and plastic parts, and that is quite robotic. So what I think is that if you see very broadly, we are we are on the verge of a third industrial revolution. So if you see what happened in the first industrial revolution, which happened at around 1840, 1850, last century, the effort was to take the load of human muscles and make human life more fast. So we invented engines, we invented machine somewhere in 19th century, 1850 onwards, and we took the load of the human muscles. Human effort was needed less and less because of the machines getting invented. And you see, when we stepped into the last century, which was 1900 onwards, so that century was a very remarkable century in the sense that human progressed remarkably, I would say, to an extent that we had not progressed since the beginning of the civilization, since last 30,000 years when human civilization started. What we progressed till 1900 was negligible as to what we progressed in the last 100 years in the last century. Starting from, inventing automobiles to trains to mobile phones, internet, computer, all that was done in the last century, nearly in the span of 100 years. So I'll say that was the second revolution where the emphasis was more on sort of making humans more productive, making humans more fast. And of course, we took all the mechanical work away from us and we shifted our mechanical work to machines and robots also. So robot is something which I'll classify as a machine which takes instructions and does human work, or sort of relieves human from doing a lot of repetitive work. Having said that, I'll say the next revolution is to take the load of the human brains, in the sense that moving forward, I don't know what humans will do, because once physical activity has been taken over by machines and thinking and creative activities are also been taken over by machines. So that's a very interesting debate, and a lot of debate has been going on around that also. Should we really go ahead and step into this scary future where machines will take over? And if that happens, I guess that would be the last invention. In the sense, human try and invent a machine which can take over human beings and becomes more smarter and intelligent than humans. Will humans need any more invention? So that will probably be the last inventions that humans will make, and then machines will take over and start inventing themselves. So having said that, I mean, that's a flip side of it, of the discussions that goes on. But that future is inevitable. That's going to happen. Whether we like or dislike it, that would definitely happen. And the other fantastic approach which I see from an economic point of view is that earlier the economics of all the countries were moving around materials. Either we were producing a material, or we were trading materials, or we were sort of buying materials. So I'll say that was all molecule based, because materials have molecules into them. So that was a molecular economy. But now we are moving towards data, and we are calling data as a new goal. So data doesn't need molecules. Data needs digits. They need 0 and 1s. So rather than having a molecule-based economy, we would also have a byte-based economy. So we would slowly move from a molecular economy to a byte economy, where a lot of things would be done digitally and no physical things will be needed, as we are doing now. We all are interacting as if we are sitting across the table and having a video conferencing without actually being physically present in a particular location. So having said that, I'll jump upon to the next wave in robotics, which is artificial intelligence and machine learning. And that is what my subject has been into HCL Technologies and now in Tech Mahindra also. So just a bit of it. I lead infrastructure and cloud services along with AI and ML for India and SAARC region. So SAARC region is basically the South Asian countries which are close to India. What we are doing is, and you keep hearing about AI and ML, we are actually putting that into practice. Lot of monitoring and management of data center is automated. Lot of monitoring and management of end user computing has been automated by us. We have our own algorithms, we have our own artificial intelligence, chatbots. We have a software called Tactis, which helps us in monitoring and managing servers and network infrastructure on cloud. So humans are not needed here. The algorithm is designed in such a way that the algorithm, just like human brain, keeps learning about what is happening in its surroundings. And the best example of AI and ML is Alexa. So I don't know how many of you have Alexa at home. At least I have. And if somebody wants to respond, what has been your experience with Alexa? Feel free to talk. Feel free to.
Students, please interact. Sir is ours only. Please interact.
Yeah, I have been one of you. The only thing is that I am a generation old, so there is a generation gap. So,
Students, you must interact. They'll interact. Yes or no? If you can't get, you say no. We don't have that. We have not heard that. Whatever.
So so no issue. So Alexa actually is, I don't know whether you have seen advertisements. It's a chat bot or it's a intelligent machine which connects with internet and interacts with you. So if you ask something, and it's actually a speaker, you don't have to put any microphones or earbuds into your ears. But it not only interacts and answers your question, it also controls your home appliances. For instance, I have connected my AC to Alexa, and if I just ask Alexa to switch on my AC, it switches on my AC automatically. So this is an artificial intelligence, and so I don't get much of a time to interact. My children keep doing it, but I think Alexa being in the home, it is also learning our behavior. There is a very intelligent robot built into that machine which learns. For example, if we switch on to Hindi mode, Alexa has learned a lot of Hindi words which actually are very specific to our family. So the genesis is that is the future, and keeping in mind that you are anyway students of BE Electronics, not only this field is open to you, but I think you are open for many other things, many other fields also, because electronics is such a common branch for industrial electronics or instrumentation, or be it communication, where you would be a perfect fit for mobile companies. Information technology. Now, when I say information technology, I talk of both hardware and software. Hardware in the sense that if you have heard of servers and networks and load balancers which move to data centers, along with MPLS network connectivity, that is which falls under IT infra, and then there is a huge area for software. So don't restrict yourself only to IT companies, or your thought process that we need to get into the big 5 IT companies in India. And I'm sure you know what big five IT companies are in India. Just for the heck of naming it, I'll name it. It's Tata Consultancy Services, Infosys, HCL Technologies, Tech Mahindra, and Wipro. So these are called as the big five IT giants of India, which are now multinational companies and they are present across many countries. So these IT companies are anyways there for you to try your luck in getting into one of them. But beyond that, what I think is that there are a lot of ingenious things and modernization things happening in manufacturing also. So look at industrial electronics, where most of the manufacturing is now controlled by softwares, and communication, the mobile companies, mobile manufacturing, mobile software development is all open for us. So believe in FIB. FIB is FIB, which is future is bright. And I'd like to take a pause here. And I think if I can share my practical experience, because was all theory. What you would like to hear from me is my practical experience with the companies that I have worked with. And being a recruiter myself, I keep recruiting IT talent for my own team as well as for my organization. I'll be happy to answer your questions. Feel free to ask any questions, even if they are related to job, because sort of a year down the line you will have to jump into the job market. If you have any questions on technology, I'll be happy to answer that, because if not me, people think that I am fairly technical. And if you have any questions related to business also, because I manage sales and pre-sales for my organization for around 15-20 countries, so I guess I would be able to share my experience that I have gathered throughout the globe, not limited to India only. So feel free to ask me questions. Don't hesitate. As Arjun said, I am one of you.
Yeah. Yes, student.
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yes.
Hello, sir.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good afternoon, actually. Sir, while recruiting, what qualities or what qualification do you see in the candidates?
So Shruti, it depends, if we are recruiting a professional, which we call as lateral hiring, having a 10 or 15 years of experience, we'll probably mostly look as to what he has done in his previous companies, what experience he has. And as I keep recruiting technical guys in my pre-sales team, as well as business guys in my sales team. So if I have to recruit a sales guy, I definitely look around the business that he has brought to the company in the last, 10 or 15 years that he has worked with. And if I'm recruiting a technical guy, pre-sales guy, then I look towards the solutioning aspect, how good he is in solutioning, and so forth. I mean, I have not done much into the technical delivery, where, if we bring a very large order to a company, then that order gets delivered across the globe. But then I have a fairly good idea as to what they look for, who are my colleagues in delivery. So they look for the technical competencies of an individual. So if you see broadly, you will get categorized into three domains, whatever domain you choose depending upon your interest. One would be the business team, which is a sales team, and a pre-sales team. The pre-sales team actually fluctuates between business and technical. So they are a middle part where they do a lot of solutioning. They prepare solutions, keeping in mind the the sellability of those solutions. So it's a very evolved job where you not only have to think about technicalities of what you are offering to your customers, but you have to think of their viability in terms of commerce. And the third domain is delivery, where you deliver. For example, if you are moving into a software development or you are taking up coding, then that's a very technical job where you sit and you will deliver. And it is misunderstood that software development is what delivery comprises of. No, delivery comprises of monitoring and managing the infrastructure. Delivery also comprises of managing the projects. There are large projects. You have heard of IT outsourcing. All these 5 companies are engaged into global outsourcing business, where large companies outsource for 5 years, 7 years, or 10 years very large projects to these companies, and these projects have to be managed. So each order ranges between 500 crores to around 2,500 or 3,000 crores. So delivery is also project management. So Shruti, that's the range, And suppose if I'm hiring a fresher, generally I used to do some 15 years back when I used to visit campuses and hire people. And they were freshers. So if I'm hiring a fresher, which I don't do now, my team does it. My team goes into various institutes and keep hiring people. So they are freshers. So we generally look at the academic career and academic excellence. So your marks would be what we would be focusing much upon. Of course, there is a interview also, and there is a debate that we conduct called group discussion. So that's how it is. I mean, if you are focused upon how we hire freshers, then we definitely look upon their marks, their ability to face interview, and their ability to discuss and convince other people.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Next.
Hi, sir. Hello.
Yeah, Shubham.
Sir, I don't know what type of business you are into, but actually it's about business related question. Suppose we are going to think about after the college, or now we are in third year electronics. So which type of business we can think, or how we should just plan for it, and what you just experience in your if this business the business days, how should we just go into the business, and what thing we just have to do.
Okay, so let me first of all let you know what I am into. So I've been into the techno-commercial field, and I've been into IT companies throughout in the last 23 years. So what we do, and generally what these big 5 IT companies do, is to take over the complete IT infrastructure, the communication infrastructure, and the end user computing infrastructure of a company, design them, supply hardwares, and then monitor and manage that infrastructure. For example, say Maruti. Maruti is into manufacturing of cars, but you will be surprised to know that Maruti invests around more than 100 crore rupees every year on its data center and end user computing, their network. Their all dealerships are connected through network MPLS. So we are into a business of taking over that complete IT of a company like Maruti, or for example, a company like Reliance Jio, and we manage the backbone for these companies. And there is a contract, it's a techno-commercial, legal-commercial contract that we sign with them. And these contracts are between 5, 7, and 10 years. And these are multi-million, multi-crore, so what we call is a multi-million dollar contracts that we sign. So I'm into that business. But coming to what business you want to do, Shubham, depends upon what interest you have. And if you are really planning to do business, then you are a free bird. Arjun knows that many of our colleagues and classmates who have done engineering with us are into the business of manufacturing clothes. They are into business of running hotels. So depends. I mean, I have seen people who do engineering, but probably they are not interested in that subject. They actually do engineering as a graduation. Then it's up to them that what interests them. One of my colleague is into, my classmate, and Arjun knows him very well, is into IT only. I mean, he is selling hardwares. He sells servers, network, storage, all those things. So Shubham, it's completely up to you. If you want to do business, and if you have a family business, then I did not say anything, and that's perfectly okay. I mean, it doesn't mean that you have done engineering and you have to join a company and be an IT professional throughout your life. So think from that point of view, Shubham. What is?
Hello, sir. So, sorry to disturb, but it's not from my family business. Every time just we think about business, our family members, our friends just say, don't go into that. It takes too much cost. It takes too much courage. It's not from your side. Means मतलब मराठी माणूस नहीं कर सकता ऐसा कुछ and then so but I should just do that. So
you can put your question in Marathi also, no problem. Sir will understand Marathi also. Don't worry.
Yeah, sir. Sometimes I just don't know the things about it, then I will put that things in Marathi, okay?
Yeah. No. Actually, you can speak Marathi also, and
okay, sir.
Marathi, Hindi, English, couple of other.
So, according to sir, your point, really is it necessary that we just have bunch of money and too many background things to start the new business? Really, it's necessary.
I agree. So, I have understood your question, Shubham. What I'll suggest, as I had done, I had also started business a couple of years back, and I'm still an investor into that business. So I am not only an IT professional, I am a financial investor also nowadays. So go and join a company which is of interest to you, and the choice is open. Because you are into a common field. If you could have been into BE computer sciences, then probably software companies would have been only the way for you. But now, as you are into a common stream of electronics, you can join a vast array of companies, be it a robotic company, be it an instrumentation company, or industrial electronics, or an IT company like as I am into, or a hardware company or a software company. Whatever interests you, you go join, take some experience, have some money with you, and then starting a business. And you will get that. I mean, you will get that idea, because I got my idea after 10 or 12 years of getting into my job, and then I thought of doing my business. By the time you will also accumulate the money. If you are in a good company, you will accumulate a lot of money. So if you don't have a business background, I'll suggest don't jump into it, because you will need money, you will need experience, and you will need courage to start business. And the most important thing is having experience of doing your own business. So that's my advice to you. And don't worry, anybody can do business. If illiterate people can do, why not literate people like us?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Next.
Hello, sir. So I have a question. It's more like a career counseling thing. So actually, sir, there is a concept between going in my head right now. So I want to start a business. Like I'm completely keen on startups in space robotics and nanosatellites. As we all know, it's not going to commercialize for like next 1 or 2 decades. So it's not really a commercial model to go into that business right now. Again, there are a lot of technical issues. So currently, I am planning to go for Japan for my master's, and I am trying to go from the Japanese embassy itself. And it's a good plan for me right now to go for the master's in Japan for Tokyo University, and there I'll get training for space robotics and nanosatellites from very good professors and all. But again, I want to start a business in that particular field. So I want to come back to India and start in that particular field. So I don't know what to do, whether I should go to Japan, then come back to India again and then start business, or should I stay in India, work with the colleagues that are from reputed colleges in India, for example IITs and all, and then start his business over here itself. That's my problem, because again the technical knowledge you will not get much good in India. That's the current issue right now, because India is not commercializing that sector right now. In ISRO there is good work going on, but again it will take a lot of time to go to ISRO, then learn all these things, and again start my own business. And there are many laws and regulations for that. It's quite complex things going on right now. What do you think, sir?
Yeah. So I have a clear view on this, and I have a clear view because in Tech Mahindra we are supporting NASA, and so Tech Mahindra is my second stint. I had been earlier also in Tech Mahindra in 2009. And then I went to Hewlett Packard and came back to Tech Mahindra. So NASA as a customer. So NASA is again a government company. So a developed country like US also has to do space research and space expedition under government. Yes, I agree. If you have heard of individuals like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, they have started their own space companies. I'm not sure, Prajwal, if you have heard of them, these two individuals.
Yes, sir. I am completely aware of all the scenario going on. My problem is that whether I should go to Japan and then come back to India, or should I stay in India and work on that?
Hey, see, working is fine, Prajwal, but starting a business in that, because you know, any business in space is not like a startup, and it's not in private hands.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's a complete scenario right now in India. It's not a private thing. The research is completely government oriented thing, right? So I'm not trying to build a business completely on that particular domain. So I want to start it as a different domain. Like my current company's main product will be like a 3D printer or drone delivery system or something like that. So my prime focus will be on that, and side by side I'll do R&D on that nanosatellites and things. So whenever the opportunity spikes up, I'll shift to that model. Because currently SpaceX and Blue Horizon and all, those companies are outsourcing these technical parts, which are like satellites or let's say few batteries and all stuff. They are outsourcing it from the private companies and not from NASA and all.
So that's a different thing, Prajwal. What you are talking of is peripherals being manufactured for Blue Horizon, or what Elon Musk is doing, is creating its own rockets. So that's okay. But when you talk of space robotics, are you talking of starting some manufacturing units which will manufacture some robot parts? What is
Yes, sir. Actually, I'm talking about exactly that thing, and my plan is for 2 decades in future right now. It's not for right now, because it's really a futuristic thing for right now. But if we start working on that particular technology right now, so I'll have 10 years ahead of what other the companies are doing in particular field. Because currently it's not a simple thing to do business in space. We all know that, and even in India right now, very few startups are currently working with that technology. For example, the Skyroot and Bellatrix and all. So and they are also under the guidance of the ISRO itself. So they are not a private entity. They are funded by the ISRO and government. So I know this scenario right now, but yeah, you got my point, I think.
Yeah, I got your point. See, ISRO is also sourcing a lot of peripherals from private sector. ISRO will not manufacture all the rocket by themselves. So if you're talking of going into that sector, Why not? But then in India, you have only ISRO. If you go to US, you have NASA, you have Blue Horizon, and you have other company, which Blue Horizon is, I think, started by Tesla. Elon Musk, I guess, or it started by Jeff Bezos.
Sir?
Blue Horizon is a Jeff Bezos.
Blue Horizon is
Jeff Bezos company. So yeah, so these are major players who are doing something in space. And I'm leaving it to you because Prijwal, you have a passion. You decide what you want to do. If you are passionate about it, I would advise you to go behind your passion and chase your passion, because people who are interested in doing a particular thing tend to get a lot of success in that field. But think from a practical point of view also that in India you have only ISRO. If you are going for a course in Japan, I don't know how many private companies are there in Japan who are into space research and space exploration. It's a very niche field, I'll say.
Yeah, sir. That's why it's a very complicated thing. And there are multiple companies in overall world. They are like planning Virgin Galactic and all. So they are trying to start space tourism and all. So there's a huge scope in that particular field in next 10 years or 20 years, I'll say.
Yeah.
But again, there are not many established companies, like you just said yourself, that there are only two giants in this particular field right now.
Right.
But again, it's not like something they'll completely dominate this industry after 10 years or 20 years. There will be many companies. So I'm trying to start right now so that when after 20 years or 10 years, this industry will commercialize to a scale. So I'll be a founding member in that particular range.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You should have those dreams and you should have those vision, and that's how space tourism is coming up. But I don't know how many people in the world can afford traveling to space. It's a very costly affair. But nevertheless, Prijwal, if you are passionate, follow your passion. Have a
Okay, sir.
practice,
Thank you, sir.
put on the ground and follow your passion. That is my advice.
Okay, just I will add one thing. Sandeep sir from 31st West Bangalore suggested that students are studying in colleges, they are studying some particular branch. In their mind, some different story is going on or some picture is going on. For somebody is now also talked about some earlier some Marathi anchoring issue has occurred, and right now this go to Japan or come back, I do this. So for that purpose, Sandeep sir has suggested that mentorship program. So we will allocate directly mentor from that particular field only. So you have to choose your field, whatever things going on in your mind, the same person will be allocated to you as Sandeep sir suggested. But shortly we may talk something about that also after this discussion.
That's good, Arjun. Good to know. But who will allocate and where this expert will come from?
Yeah. The expert will be from the industry or place only, and the people, the team will be there, like you, Sandeep sir. Like this means the thought is going on. So it's a brainchild of Sandeep Periwal sir. So he's about that in the earlier discussion.
Yeah. Definitely, and as I have said to people that follow your passion.
Yeah.
Don't worry about money.
Yeah, correct.
Follow about it, but be practical also, because luck plays also a very important role in your business.
Yeah, so that's a very valid point, because it's again a futuristic thing, and if we just chase that dream, I started chasing that dream, then I might end up becoming a professor or something, because that's not a business thing currently. So I know that risk factor that there is with this particular idea, but again there might be a possibility that I might succeed, like even in 0.2% or all.
Really, all the best, Prijwal, all the best to you, and do follow your dreams. That is what I can say.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for your guidance.